All right, so I guess let's get it going. Dev, what's going on in your world?
Not much at all.
At all? You got a big day tomorrow, don't you?
Because I'm gonna be at that Actors Access.
Yeah, you got a big. It's like.
I've got a memory challenge.
Yeah, you're doing a scene from 2.5 Men. I really wish we could hear it, and I wish you the best of luck.
I need more than that. I can't wait for you to find more.
Well, actually, I'm supposed to say break legs, so break some legs out there.
I don't know where that started, but it doesn't apply to me.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's not the thing to say to the 89-year-old who's walking her way to the audition. Don't break any legs at all. Oh, man. Well, Dev, let's do a little cheers. We got mimosas today.
Yeah.
Let's get Kathryn, get you get in on this.
All right.
Cheers, gang.
We got seriously lucky.
2 mimosa dates.
Yeah, Kathryn, thank you for requesting alcohol as your food of choice for the episode.
Always.
If you said heroin, we would have done it, so...
Well, then you're calling for another episode.
Yeah, from now on, only suggest a substance. All right. Well, let's see. Is there anything going on in my life that's interesting? I was in Nashville last weekend. I went to a Bass Nectar concert. Dev, you like Bass Nectar?
I don't know what it is.
It's the first EDM. He's like a guy, and I think he was like the first guy like really in the EDM space. It was a fun concert. It was really just me, my little brother, and a bunch of 20-year-olds. So
What's EDM mean?
Electronic dance music. I think that's it.
Yeah, he was definitely not the first person in that space. But
Oh, he wasn't?
Proceed.
Maybe my little brother was saying he was like the first big guy to make it mainstream. I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass right now.
I guess it depends on what you qualify EDM as, because, I mean, like techno has been going on forever, and it did more... I don't know what I'm talking about.
You're a musician and you're in the music and comedy PR business, so I think your
Yeah.
opinion is warranted here.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say about Mr. Bass Nectar.
Mr. Bass Nectar. It was a great show. Dev, you're coming to the next one. But I did feel like I was back in college again, and I felt old. So
I'm sorry I missed that.
I'm sure he's coming to New York sometime soon.
Where did you find him?
My little brother told me about him. I was in town for the weekend, and he was like, "Bro," and like all my brother and his little friends talk in that millennial vocab. Everything's lit, bro. It's these are some funky, juicy, saucy jams, bro.
Oh.
Do you know what a saucy jam is, Dev?
No.
It's a song that's really good.
That's the label of it? That's how it's identified?
Yeah, saucy jam.
Can I have an example?
Just listen to some Zeppelin, bro. All saucy jams.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever heard Led Zeppelin.
Oh, man, Dev, we got to go back to smoking weed, putting on some Zeppelin, and just reliving the good old days.
And I'm in serious need of an education.
All right, well, we'll take you through some of their albums another time, but in the meantime, I think we should turn our attention to our guest of the day. We're so lucky to have you here, Kathryn. She works on the business side of comedy. She is the owner-director of Brooklyn-based PR and public relations company Shark Party Media. Shark Party specializes in music and comedy, and Kathryn and her team have helped countless musicians and comedians launch and promote albums, tours, and she even helped promote this podcast, Dev.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Super happy to have you here, Kat. Welcome to the show, Kathryn Musilek.
Thanks. Hi. Happy to be here.
We're so glad to have you. And again, thanks for the mimosas.
Thank you for the mimosas. I just showed up to drink them.
That's true, but it was your idea.
We wouldn't have had them if it weren't for you.
Oh. You say the nicest thing.
That's because I'm informed.
That's right.
So, Kathryn, you are in on the PR side of things, but let's go back to the beginning. You grew up in Iowa. What was your childhood like? What was it like growing up there?
It was great. I was born on a stormy Sunday morning. No, I don't remember.
Tornadoes were coming in.
Yeah, we do have lots of tornadoes. That's true. Ask me anything about Iowa.
What's their football team? The Hawkeye?
Yeah, we got the Hawkeyes.
Hawkeyes, yeah.
And the Cyclones, which are tornadoes.
Yeah, really playing into it.
Yeah. I was born and raised in the middle of Iowa and went to spend a year in Italy in high school as a foreign exchange student. That's like a little hiatus, and then I came back and went to the University of Iowa, and I was in a lot of bands. I was raised with music, so I have always played. Started with piano, went to guitar when I was like ready to rebel and be like, screw you, parents. I'm not going to do concert piano. I'm going to write grumpy lady songs.
Because I'm angry.
Yeah. I found out who Ani DeFranco is. And I guess I'm a feminist. So, so I started writing some grumpy songs. And
Could I hear one?
Oh, I can send you the CD. My
I'd love
first
it.
album. You ready for the? Oh, this is really embarrassing.
Yeah, no, bring us back.
My first album was called Ballerina in a Box.
Ballerina in a box?
Yeah, you know, like and the idea was that it was like in a jewelry box. There's those ballerinas,
It's
right?
a very subtle metaphor.
Yeah, it's real subtle. And so, like, when people want them to, like, it's like, you know, dance when they say to dance or be pretty or whatever, and then they can just close the box and put the box away. And anyway, it's
We
bad.
don't have one of those here, do we?
No, we
It's
don't.
your house.
Maybe. I don't
Next
know.
time, bring one.
Okay. I've
yeah.
got several.
I bet I could dig up a couple CDs, but then you'd hear them and I'd be embarrassed. So,
No.
anyway, so yeah, I was in a bunch of bands and did a lot of touring and did what I found out later was PR and working with, you know, letting radio stations know that we were coming to town and setting up interviews and setting up in stores and setting up all kinds of, you know, whatever, listings, interviews, scheduling interviews. And yeah, so that kind of marketing experience was actually very helpful. And also having the perspective from the artist side was also very helpful in how this company can relate to its artists and its comedians and everything, because we can understand the vulnerabilities of it and all of that. I mean, I not to say that you have to be an artist or come from the artist side, because I mean, there's also such a thing. It's just like empathy and hard work.
Yeah, you can just think. But, I mean, it's got to help to
It
actually
does.
firsthand live it. You really know. And you can talk, and if
Yeah.
you meet another musician or another artist, you can talk to them on that level to some degree.
Yeah, totally. Especially like the tour stuff. That's the stuff that always is so effective. And when you get to town and there's like 3 features, you feel it, like in the attendance of people showing up and all that. And when there's not, you feel that too, for sure. You're like, no one's here. And we spend a lot of money to be on the road. So anyway, I sort of farted around through college I kind of dropped in and out, going on tours and being in various musical things.
Did you perform? Did you sing? Did you had an instrument or what?
All of the above.
Wow.
Yeah.
The trifecta.
I play bass and piano and guitar. The band that I probably toured the most with, I played bass in, because the boys are like, we want you to be in our band, and then you're like, oh my gosh, I want to play drums. I've never done that. And they're like, well, we have a drummer. And then I'm like, oh, well, how about electric guitar? They're like, we have 2 of those.
Wait,
So
you wanted
then-
to be the drummer and you'd never played drums before?
Yeah.
I love that. You were just like, I'll just kind of whack them around.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, it's just like dancing while you hit things. As far as
It
I
is. I'm a
can
drummer,
understand
so
it.
and I was actually I played violin and then switched to drums, so I
Oh,
was
okay.
kind of like a ballerina in a box as well. Just my own little. I was like, screw you, mom. I'm a drum.
I
I'm a
can't
real
believe I
man.
told you guys about that. I mean, I'm sure it's easily Googleable, but
Yeah.
yeah. And so toured a bunch and got to New York City because I had a bunch of friends who moved here, and they were like, come to New York, come to New York. So I got my degree in film and cinema and comparative literature, came out to New York, and I had sort of skills in film editing, and I had skills that had to do with promoting the arts and working in the journalist space, working with journalists to drum up excitement about projects. And I had the amazing luck to meet Elizabeth Freund. I applied for a job, and then I started working with her firm, Beautiful Day Media, And
And is she well known in the media side of things?
she is, well, on the PR side.
On the PR side, yeah.
Yeah, totally. She has amazing clients. She's worked with, Ringo Starr and Eric Burden and Bob Geldof and Paul Simon and
Wow.
Joe Walsh.
Wow.
And I mean, like, on and on and on. Just really, she's just a real, veteran pro. And her specialty are these kind of like legacy, sort of like older artists with like huge catalogs that are still doing stuff. Ringo is putting out a lot of albums, and everyone should check them out.
Get your Ringo albums.
That's
Yeah, that sounds
right.
like a great gig. It's like, these names are already easy to sell. They're still like, all right, Ringo, boom.
Yeah, but
PR
imagine
campaign.
there are definitely different types of PR. Imagine what that's like. Because, like, to have that kind of rush of requests and rush of people asking for things, it can be a little different, but you still have to, like,
Yeah, how
shape the
do you manage
campaign.
that versus like if you're repping someone a little more unknown, you're trying to get stuff. If
Yeah.
you're repping someone super big, you have to filter.
Yeah.
So how do you determine?
It's a hard job. That's why there's like a whole industry
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not just you and Kathryn and Elizabeth. Wait, Kathryn? What's her name?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're Kathryn. She's
And
Elizabeth.
Patrice. She works with Patrice Phelan now too. Patrice Phelan works with Elizabeth Freund.
Okay, got it.
You guys, this heat is getting to my brain. It's really hot outside.
Is it too hot? Yeah, we have like a 50-year-old fan cooling us off, but it's,
I'm
just
a
chug your
50-year-old
mimosa. That
fan.
pain will go away.
Okay. Here we go.
We can also take breaks, so you just let us know if we need to cool off.
Sure.
So, what were you doing for her when you first got in, and what were the learning curves early on?
It was a really steep learning curve because, doing PR in a professional capacity in a boutique firm, there's a lot of work to be done. It was 2 partners and myself and some interns, and it was an amazing experience to walk into that company. And Elizabeth, with all of her amazing optimism, we'll loop back to optimism later. And the first campaign that I got to assist on was the Beatles' Love, the thing that they've been calling it a mashup, but I feel like it's just they kind of dug through the Beatles closet, and Giles Martin, son of George Martin, found all these amazing. Find the best kick drum, and then sort of like sampled that in, and they sort of rebuilt tracks and remastered tracks, and it was for the Cirque du Soleil show, basically.
Oh, that's really cool.
But yeah, that was pretty crazy to come from the University of Iowa and then get to work on a campaign like that and like watch Elizabeth Freund in action. So
Maybe it was a piece of luck.
I think it was some luck. I was in a really, really good mood when I got to New York. I was kind of
Because you were out of Iowa?
manifesting.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
There's things going on.
No, that's exactly why. I'm a little bit of a hippie. We've been over this, but I think that I was like in such a positive, optimistic frame of mind, and I think that's when like things can kind of happen or come to you or whatever, when you're just sort of like believe that they could happen or come to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very lucky, and I'm very lucky to still know both of those women, Elizabeth and Patrice. And sometimes I'll work on certain projects with Elizabeth if she needs a little bit of extra muscle or whatever, be on her team. Always happy to work with her and all her projects. But so after a couple years, it became increasingly apparent that I wanted to be working with baby bands. I wanted the little guys, the cool hipster bands, and I wanted to sort of help cultivate early careers and emerging artists. And so, I did leave Beautiful Day and started sort of on the site, did a couple things at the same time. I was helping with a little tiny indie label, and then I was also started Shark Party Media, and it was not full time when I started it. It was alongside some other work, and but yeah, I just wanted to be working with cool indies and contributing something sort of new. I was, it was exciting. So yeah, Shark Party. From there, it grew and grew, and
Well, where did you come up with that name? Because I love it.
Oh.
It's like the first time I heard it, I was like, this is a company I want to work with.
Thanks. Well, first of all, sharks either sink or swim. So you've got that going. Like if sharks stop swimming, I think they die or something.
Oh,
I
yeah,
should
I've heard
get my
that somewhere.
shark facts straight.
Yeah, you need to know.
But, there's like sort of an idea that sharks are continually moving. And so I do remember that Elizabeth told me in my first week of working in PR, she was like, in this business, you sink or you swim. And I was like, all right, noted. So there's that kind of thing. But the way that it really got named was I was just sort of writing down a whole bunch of different names. I was chatting with a friend of mine on GChat, just saying random stuff, mostly to just try to make him laugh. And then Shark Party came, and we were both like, oh, wait, no, that's pretty good.
The char and the par, it kind of goes together.
It's got that internal rhyme that I love so much.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sing-songy. And so that's how we named that. And, I've just been avoiding any kind of logo that's a shark with a party hat on, because that's not the brand.
Yeah, like a frat bro, kind of like, Shark Party.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's just a little too nail on the head.
Yeah. It's more just like
it's just a feeling. Shark Party's a feeling.
It's a
not
fun
about real
feeling.
sharks.
A fun feeling for people who are aggressive and want to get what they want out of life.
Yeah, totally.
And
Want to keep
destroy
moving.
a bunch of children in the process. A lot of bad PR for sharks recently. I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, sharks are not always awesome.
It's not their fault, though. We're swimming in their territory. Okay.
True. It's their ocean.
This is going to turn into a Discovery Channel rant with people who don't know anything about animals.
Don't read the comments. They'll be like, Kathryn doesn't know anything about EDM or sharks.
Yeah. Dumb people talking about things they don't know anything about. All right, let's start a podcast. What would you say is your mission statement? What is it? What do you guys stand for and look for when you're getting clients?
Sure. So we're in the business of discourse and journalism, and we want to have narratives that we're proud to be projecting and amplifying. So, there is a sort of dominant narrative that we've heard over and over and over again, and we're really interested in diversifying that narrative and getting, we're very interested in women and people of color and people who aren't straight and people who aren't cis. Like, we're interested in those narratives sort of flooding the journalistic space, which they have been anyway. There really is much more of an active reach into those communities from journalism to be representing them finally, and a little too late, but we just have to move forward toward that.
Yeah, it's better late than never. I mean, as long as you're making a push towards something, it's helping.
Yeah, exactly. And of course we work with straight white men.
Yeah, only the straight white men who are with 89-year-old women. I know how it works.
That helps.
Yeah.
That helps. But of course we work with all kinds of there's no discrimination happening.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't want to work with a toxic person from any spectrum or from any demographic at all. That wouldn't really work for us, because we can't be, it's just to be blunt, it's bad business, but also it's just not us. How are we gonna my job is to find something that I love, or they come to me and I love it, and then I have to shout it from the mountaintops to everyone that I know that writes or has podcasts or radio or whatever, to the media. And if I don't love it, they know that I don't love it. And they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, how do you push something you're not passionate about? It's like...
Exactly. So, and I'm not passionate about toxic people, so I can't take them on as clients.
Yeah. Have you had any of those people come up to you? Have you had to turn down a lot of people like that?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Sometimes they're like, "Oh, I heard about Shark Party from," and then they'll name somebody like Woke, and I'm just like, "How? When were you talking? Like, how did that happen?" But all right, like a couple kind of shocking ones that are like famously, like horrible racists and stuff like that.
What is it
I'm
from
not
the
gonna name
material that they wanted you to like? Like, was it an album they had and there was racist material in it, or was it stuff they had done in the past that were painting them as that type of person?
Sort of just like an example, like just their brand, everything about it is like very clearly,
Yeah.
very clearly.
Playing into it a little bit
Yeah.
versus being thoughtful about it.
Yeah, or just being like straight up anti-woman toxic crap, like nonsense
God,
that
yeah,
we just
yeah,
don't
yeah.
need,
Yeah.
We're just like, what year is it?
Yeah, dude,
Why-
is this really going to work? It's,
Yeah. The sad thing is that it probably is. And I'm sure that there are plenty of publicists and managers and all of that who can just go ahead and continue to get rich off of that.
Yeah, you can go to Dick Party Media for that.
Yeah.
It'll be a different PR company.
Dick Party Media.
I'm starting a new PR company. Join the Dick Party, bros. Someone's got to fight the system.
Totally. There's plenty of that out there, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, we're lucky to sort of just be able to guide our own roster and our own careers and work with whatever works for us.
What about in the early goings? Was it tough to turn down clients at that point? Like, and at what point did you start feeling like you could abandon your other jobs and actually focus on this full time?
Well, that happened pretty quickly, actually. That happened like a year in or so. I stopped. I was just working PR for Shark Party.
Wow, and you just built your clients through your kind of past experience and who you knew? Just
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly word of mouth. Mostly it's that you work a campaign and then someone who knows the person that you worked with is like, how'd you get all that press? What's going on? And they're like, boink, these guys. And then, if it makes sense, then we'll work with the referral. So it's a lot of how the business builds. But I did, I have lost clients because of some kind of incident where I'm not really clear on, like, what they believe about race or gender or something like that. And I have lost handfuls of clients because they said something that I was, like, really not going to stand by. And definitely not as, because it's we're not spokespeople, but people come to us for, we're messengers of the people. So
if they're speaking a certain way, you then become that person.
But what did so-and-so mean when they said this really horrible racist thing? Could you clarify that? Like, no. They're done. Like, I can't do it. It doesn't make any sense for me to do that. Like, morally, I can't really do it. Business-wise, I don't want to do it. All of it. Like, I don't think it's good practice in any way. It's just like it's not feeding or growing the world in any progressive manner. It's just, Yeah,
you have your values and you guys stick true to them, which I feel like is important.
Yeah, totally. And every time that I have stuck true to my values, and something falls away because of it, something a million times better just steps right in, and something that's completely suited to our values and our morals and how we see the world. So there's really no downside. It's scary sometimes because it is our livelihood and it's money, so it's hard to sometimes to be like, I don't want that money.
Free money, but not, it's there.
Like, you can keep that money because I can't do that job for you. And then other business can come in.
Yeah, there's
made room for it.
You've created your own boundaries, which a lot of people go their whole lives never creating, and then you never know what to say no or yes to because you don't know your rules.
Yes, 100%. And nobody's perfect, so
Speak for
it's
yourself,
tricky.
but yes, I understand the idea of what you're trying to convey.
Just client-wise, nobody. There's no way to be perfect, and there's no one ideology that is just like the carte blanche. That's the right one. I know which one I like, and I try to find things close to that. But of course, there's variances, and you just do the best you can.
Yeah.
Try to be a good person. Try to work with good people. Do a good job.
Amen. I totally agree with that, and I love where your head is. Dev, you on board?
Probably.
She needs to think about that. So you started in music. That was like a beautiful day. And then with Shark Party, you made a shift more towards comedy. How did that happen? And what was it like jumping from those two scenes, from music to comedy?
Well, it was about 8 years ago. And I realized I had just been listening to a lot more podcasts. I was just more interested in comedians and podcasting and just people yammering and making me laugh. And so I was also going to more comedy shows. And so I just made the pivot. I just started taking comedy clients. And I have a really great pal, Sheila Kenny from Right on PR. She's an amazing company, and she's an amazing publicist. And she referred some things to me because she didn't have room to be working them anymore, and that sort of got me on the track as well. And then word of mouth just started going for comedians. And it was interesting because, I guess I haven't really explained exactly what PR is.
Well, it seems like a perfect time.
So let me tell you.
Yes.
So, yes, PR is, as a publicist, I am the liaison between talented people who have a project, an album, a tour, a podcast, a play, a film, a web series, that sort of thing. And I liaise between the talented people and the world of journalism and the media. So I work with the talent to create written materials, to create a message, to create whatever it is that they are doing, and make sure that we can construct some materials where you look at them and you can tell exactly oh, I get this person. The idea is that I want to be able to communicate what this is to the media so that they can see it, they can get it, they can check it out if that interests them, or pass on it, or ignore me, whatever they want to do. Those are kind of the three things that happen, is they ignore me, they pass, or they do something. Or they go, I'll check this out, and then they don't do something. That can also happen.
That seems to be the most frustrating.
That's a hard one, because you're
You just get your expectation up, and you're like, if you were just honest with me.
Right. And so I'm also, I think of the role as just a helpful role. I'm trying to help journalists by providing content from non-toxic narratives. That's a lot of what they're looking for, because in our selection of clients, we make sure that they're really quality and they're really good and they're really newsworthy. So we're helping the journalists that way. And of course, that also helps the client because they are interested in discourse about their project. They are interested in articles and reviews and interviews and all of that. So the sweet spot is, identifying the right people on either side, really, having strong clients and really having strong contacts who are interested in that stuff and pitching the right people, the right things in the media sphere. So when I transitioned to comedy from music, I was doing this with music. So you can imagine that you're not going to be pitching Pitchfork every day for comedians. You will pitch, they'll write about Mark Maron. They will write about, some other men for sure, but they're not writing about indie comedians.
It's more mainstream people at that point.
Right. So it was just a matter of sort of shifting to more comedy-based contacts, but there are people at many of the outlets that we had always dealt with who will write about comedy or consider comedy. So you just go find those people and send them an email, and you can try to call them, but they don't like that, so don't call them. Just write a really good pitch letter. That's kind of the gist of that. So that's how.
Yeah. So would you say there's obviously a lot of importance in that press release and figuring out what that core message is of that project?
It is, and almost more important than the press release is the subject line and the first line of the email that you send them, because you just have to get them. You just have to be you have to get them interested. You have to get them to want to read more.
It's like doing stand-up. You have to start off with one of your best jokes, and then you can lead more into. But
Right, people are like, all right, I trust this
You got
email.
to hook them right off the
All
bat
right.
or you're in trouble.
I'll read more of this email, I think.
Yeah,
And then they read more of the email. All right, I think I will read this press release after all. And then they can read the press release, and then you're off to the races. But, yeah, it has a lot to do with the way that you're communicating about your client, for sure.
Mm-hmm. We kind of talked about this earlier, but, like, working with a lesser-known artist, what are some of the obstacles that come with getting media to buy into them? Is it just having such a strong idea behind the project that they just get it and it's easy to sell them? Or how do you get these people, like our podcast, into get other people interested about it?
Yeah, I think story is everything. So you have to make sure that there's a story or pull the story out. When it comes to comedy albums, there's, of course, the handful of people who will just write about it because it's a new comedy album. And then if there's noteworthy comedians or personalities involved, that will get them interested as well. If it's someone whom the media always covers, so they have to continue that discourse. They're like, like, of course you're going to cover the new Death Cab for Cutie album. I think they broke up, whatever. You know what I mean? I'm 90.
Dev, what do you
no,
know
you're 90.
about Death Cab for Cutie?
Zero.
Her third favorite band.
Zero.
Right after Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, right after Zeppelin.
And Disco Biscuit
The
guy.
Disco Biscuits?
What's his
I don't know his name. I only know the Disco Biscuits. I've been to some music festivals. I know what's up. I've done mushrooms before.
Oh, my goodness. What was I saying?
We all got lost.
It's like 90 degrees and I've had a mimosa.
Yeah. Well, we can get through this quick. Okay, well, you were talking about, like, with a tour or an album coming out. So how about, like, can you take us, like, through a campaign for a comedy album? Let's say Dev has her new album coming
Sure.
out, Pushing 90. And how do you get it out there? Like, what's the process like from start to finish?
So we would start by putting together the press release. I mean, we would familiarize ourselves, the company would, with the album itself, and identify stronger tracks, the tracks that we think would be funniest. A lot of times we just let the comedian or artist identify those tracks because they're the ones who've been doing it in clubs forever. So they know what kills. Mm-hmm. And so they'll be like, this is the one, the one that everyone comes up afterwards and is like, that was the best part. So
they always do it in that voice too.
They do. We will pitch those tracks around as a premiere to certain outlets to see if an outlet wants to be the first person to post the track. And then that premiere can also help in the press release because we can kind of say, and Bust Magazine premiered this or whatever it is. We can put that into the materials. And there's something about that that's sort of just helpful to show, like, that coverage makes sense, that it's already happened, and then it's a way for people to hear it real quickly and read a little something about the comedian and sort of just get them into the story of the person and of the album and everything. So, yeah, we pitch around for premieres, service a press release pretty wide, and then we choose contacts in a more selective way to be emailing and following up with to try to get them to consider some coverage in whatever capacity. It depends on who you're pitching different things for different people because different people cover in different capacities. And yeah, from there you I have a couple sayings. You sort of just go where it's warm. You just sort of whoever is interested, you kind of go toward them. And a campaign can kind of shape itself in a way that you don't expect sometimes. So you just kind of have to go with it. And it can be tricky sometimes if a client is incredibly tied to outcomes because they might really, really want this outlet. They're like, just anything in Rolling Stone, anything. And you're like, I know. Like, I know.
I get it.
I would love that.
that.
Like, because I would also really want that for you. But that's the weirdest thing about the whole industry is that PR is not guaranteed. It is not a thing. Like, if you want a guarantee, then you buy an ad. But ads don't interact with people the way that discourse and publicity and journalism does. It's a very, very different thing.
You're trying to create how you got known is through word of mouth. So you're trying to create the most important marketing tactic for someone else, which is word of mouth.
Yeah.
creating word of mouth is very hard because it has to happen naturally and organically. So it seems
Right.
like that's the mission of a PR company.
Yeah, totally. To have to create a buzz about it with people who have a little bit more of a platform, and who might want to also talk about our clients.
Yeah. How do you manage those expectations? Like when you deal with someone who's just being really like
Yeah.
rushing the process and just doing things that are out of your control and their control. How do you handle that?
Well, we try to make it very clear early in the negotiations process when we're all just sort of talking about how long we want to work together, what we're actually going to be working on, this date, this tour, that album, like how is that going to go? So I try to be clear that what we need in order to have a good publicity campaign is lead time and optimism. Remember this one?
Lead time and optimism.
That's
All
right. Lead time and optimism. Because if you have the lead time, there isn't this, it's all about the energy of the campaign, honestly. And if the campaign is clients who are really freaked out and like, are you going to do it? Are you going to get anything? You're not going to get anything. What are you doing? What are you then I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I'm really sorry. Let's do it.
And now
Let's
you're
try.
acting stressed and it's just creating the whole...
And then do you think that doesn't translate to the journalists? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
do you think that they don't feel it and they're not like, oh.
She seems very desperate about
Yeah.
this. It's
Yeah.
like going on a Tinder date and be like, please, come on with me. I love you, please.
Yeah, I'd be like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
going to go out with you.
Something seems wrong here. Maybe that's what I've been doing wrong. Damn it.
Lead time and optimism.
Lead time and optimism.
Ask him on a date. Give it a month.
Give it a month.
Ask him on another date.
What are you doing next July?
Yeah, stay real optimistic.
Yeah.
But yeah, the lead time is helpful because we're in an age of information, and there's a lot of information coming at everyone. And, I will very gently but persistently but politely do a number of follow-ups. And sometimes after like 5 emails over the course of like 2 months, someone will pop up and be like, oh my God, thank you for following up again. I was just thinking about you and about this, and I was on deadline, or I was writing a book, or, whatever it is. They're always on deadline. They're always busy. So when they get that email, so when people ask right after a press release is service, just like, ooh, what's the response? Like, there can be campaigns that does happen that there's like a good response and a good amount of requests from that. But oftentimes it does take a little bit more to cultivate interest and to, be chill and optimistic with everyone without being really pushy or desperate or freaked out or scared. Because those energies just, I've seen it a million times. I've seen those energies squash a campaign, and things stop coming in because there's like nerves around it from the client, and that goes straight.
It's amazing
through
how
the
that
process.
translates
I know.
into. It's crazy, but
It
I
is.
get how that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, and it's really strange too because you meet someone. And they're like, hi, I'm a professional. It's all about energy. You know what I mean? Like right from the start, I'm giving them weird like hippie advice about how we just got to stay real optimistic or whatever. But
I'm giving you
it's
money.
so
It's like,
true.
chill, bro. Just stick to my hippie logic. and you're gonna go
Visualize
far.
the coverage.
Have you made a vision board yet? Because you ain't going nowhere until you do it.
Honestly, it would help if all of my clients made a vision board. Just saying.
Dev and I, that's exactly what we're doing after this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just like cut out a bunch of like magazine covers.
Yeah. Dev, what's on your vision board? Where do you see yourself in 5
I
years?
don't think I have a vision board.
It's just mimosas on a Saturday. Maybe this is it.
Mimosas help.
Yeah. Help with the visions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because, like you said, it's not like an advertisement where you can't measure the ROI. This many people interacted. This many people bought off of this ad.
Right.
So for you, what is the benchmark for success?
I want a good amount of coverage. I want there to be a sort of a felt swell in interest. I want it to sort of build coverage on coverage. Like, I really like when I can place 2 to 3 premieres, and then on top of that creates other interest. in features. I like to have a really diverse campaign. I like to flesh it out with some podcasts and some radio. I love TV. I love local TV. When people are on tour, that's my favorite thing, is to send them to these crazy little locals.
Is that from your touring days as a musician?
Yeah,
Welcome
totally.
to my world.
And it's just so funny. I mean, you'll see these like huge names on these little podunk stations. It's my favorite thing. It's just very cute. And also, it really translates. Like, people really watch that stuff in their local markets.
Yeah. My friend Mark Norman, who was on the show, did one in Cleveland, and he just got completely absurd and ridiculous, and it went viral. And, like,
there you go.
I'm sure he sold those shows out that week.
I love that shit. It's
Yeah.
so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, just speaking in terms of coverage, that feels really good to me. And also just knowing that a campaign feels successful when I know that I've gotten all the coverage that is available, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Where all of the people who I think it would be a completely organic fit and they absolutely should cover this thing, where either they have covered or passed. So I know that I got everything that they should have.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the thing, is like I'm not in control of what someone thinks of the thing that I love, that I work with. But I really want to know if and why they aren't going to write about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That was a lot of double negative.
No, I know. I got it for the most part. But
Yeah.
it's like, I can imagine, have you had a lot of projects that you're like, this is phenomenal, and it's just not getting that traction?
I've had a couple real heartbreakers like that, yeah. And it's really hard because you also push harder because you love them so much, and you're like, what are you guys not seeing? Like,
Yeah,
why
it's like-
aren't you, like, this is amazing. And it can be something as silly as like they don't like the journalists don't like the title. Like, the title just turns them off, and then they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna see it or interact with it at all. So yeah, that has happened before, and it breaks everybody's heart. And I'm always like, but for the most part, we have a really good track record, which is why we are an industry and a company.
Yeah.
You know?
You built it over 8 years now. Is that what you said?
No, I started Shark Party in 2007, so,
so you're
12 years.
12 years. Jeez.
Yeah. But that was just me for a number of years, and Heidi Vanderlee came into my world, I want to say 6 years ago, and she is just a dynamo of a publicist. And Andrew Guerin is another publicist with Shark Party, and he came in.
Your fiance, by the way.
He's my fiance.
Ooh, when's the date?
October 5th.
October 5th. Boom, it's
I'm going to
happening.
marry the heck out of that guy.
Dev will get you a nice dress. I'm coming with you.
I look forward.
It'll be really fun. It's going to be.
Where are you getting married?
Fun. We're getting married in the Adirondacks.
Ooh.
At this B&B, and they have a brand new barn in the back that we haven't seen yet because it hasn't been finished. So
Did you say barn?
yeah, like a wedding
A
barn.
marriage barn?
Yeah, the marriage barn.
Come on down to the wedding barn.
It'll be fun. I hope everybody wears lots of like feathers and fur and stuff, and it feels like we just went.
Are
like,
you going to put that on the invitation?
Totally, it's
Feathers
there.
and fur.
Feathers and
Appreciated.
fur. I want the vibe to be like we all just got back from like a really fancy hunt, like the olden days, and now we're just getting married.
I will bring my musket, and we will.
Yeah, like those weird pants and the socks up to your knees.
Yeah,
and
like that
stuff.
scene from Wedding Crashers on the dove hunt. Like
Yeah.
basically that type
Yeah,
of look.
exactly.
That's awesome.
But yeah,
Alright.
so I have a couple publicists and an amazing assistant, Emily Knockhazel, and they've all, so Shark Party has fleshed out.
You built that team
quite a
up
bit. Mhm.
over time. Must be nice.
Yeah, it's great. It's so nice to be, working with people instead of completely independent. It really helps to have someone to bounce things off of, and there's plenty of times when my roster is full and it's something great, and I'm like, I would hate for this not to be covered by Shark Party, and so it's really nice to have a little team.
Yeah, because now you're growing other people the same way Elizabeth helped grow you, so it's all full circle in a way.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're all going to go to Pennsylvania to see Katina Corral and Kendra Cunningham in their awesome show called Less Bitter, More Glitter. I think that's right. And we're going on a shark party trip, and Emily's coming to visit us because she works out of Cincinnati, actually.
Less bitter, more
Glitter.
glitter.
More glitter.
That's very you,
I
I,
love
think.
Kendra.
I
She's
think
so
that's
funny.
very Dev, frankly. Right?
If only I had some glitter to toss up right now. We should always have a bowl of glitter from now on. You're really changing the set around here, Kathryn. So
I
thank you for
know. Mimosas and glitter and fancy hunting trips.
that. Yes, you're speaking my language, girlfriend.
Booze for Dev.
Yeah.
Dev.
It helps.
Booze.
You should make T-shirts that say that's
Booze for Dev.
Dev with a mimosa, and it says it helps.
It says help.
It helps.
helps.
He said it a couple times.
We're gonna
That's
profit
pretty
off you
good.
so hard, Dev. And
I'm-
you won't see a penny.
Oh.
Oh, she don't like that.
Call your lawyer.
Don't worry, your manager's sitting right here.
Yeah.
I'll double dip.
All right, we're back from mimosa break. We had to pour some fresh mimosas. Welcome back. to
Can we
the show.
cheers again?
Yeah, let's cheer. We should alys
This is
cheers.
super fun.
I know, I'm having a great
Because
time.
of all the cheersing.
I got too much juice in this one. I needed more champagne.
Great.
Okay, whatever.
Do you want more booze?
We'll make through. We'll get it through. I want more Bruce. What's up, Bruce?
You're not finished yet.
No, we're not done yet. Well, you're on the show.
Yammering
You're on the
away.
show
After
right
all
now.
this laughter, I figure you must have been finished.
Because the show itself isn't funny. What are you trying to say right now? No, we probably got like 15 more minutes.
We're just getting your
But,
wife drunk.
anything you want to say to people? Anything you want to say to our loyal following while you're here?
Do you want some?
Bravo from Bruce. All right, we'll take it.
Do you want something to drink?
We got booze.
No, I'm fine. I really don't.
All right, sounds good. So let's see. What are we talking about? It is happy hour.
It is.
Your watch tells you.
Well, yeah, it's happy hour.
It's happy hour.
There's like a little smiley face on my Fitbit when it's happy hour. No, there isn't.
That would be interesting.
That's funny.
All right, so we were talking about how what you deem as successful. Going back, like what can your clients do to make sure that their campaign is successful? What are the things because obviously there's a lot you can do, but
Right.
it seems whether it's being a good interviewer or maybe doing something on their own social media, leveraging the opportunities you do give them. What can your clients do to improve it?
Those are two great examples of
I got
something that they could do, for sure. All right, so first of all, just to have all the assets ready to go. When you start a campaign, you should have lovely color journalistic photographs not just in portrait. A lot of times they'll come to us with the headshots or whatever for the management side of things, but a lot of times you want a horizon shot in color. If the journalists want to turn them black and white, they can, but it's best to be in color. I'm talking too long about the photographs. I'm going to move on now.
And 35 minutes later, well, it could be like a slight silhouette shot.
It could be like a picture of you on the train tracks, or it could be like a picture of you. Yeah.
Think of every possible outcome.
So good photos are
Yeah.
really helpful. The album all ready to go, high quality album, high quality product, whatever it is. If it's like a tour, having all of your ticket links ready to go, all that kind of stuff. If there's any sort of little detail about the thing that we're promoting that you can think of that would be helpful to someone reading it. Where is the album available? What time do doors open? What time does the show start? All that stuff. If it's like a web series, who in the web series is available for interview? If there's bigger names, how many interviews are they going to do? So just like an organizational sense of having the assets that we need in order to work a successful campaign is very, very important. And then from there, remaining optimistic throughout all of that lead time.
Lead time and optimism.
That's right. And that optimism should manifest in you going and doing whatever it is you do. And we will do our job. And then we let you know and we schedule with you and all of that kind of stuff. There really isn't any, all the stuff that you need to do to make the campaign good usually happens before I hit the ground. It's all the prep, it's the album itself, it's the project. Just be really good at what you do.
Yeah.
And have the assets ready. And then throughout the campaign, it is important that you are responsive and helpful when we're trying to schedule interviews and requests. You know, if there's a lot of email interviews lately, just to make sure that you turn those around within a couple of days if possible. Just being really organized and treating it as treating all of the PR requests and organizational schedule stuff as important. Like, don't miss interviews. Like, that's a real bad one, because these journalists have been like,
Yes.
first of all, you paid us to go ahead and try to get them on the phone.
How are you going to miss an opportunity just for no reason?
Right. Get your Google Docs and Google
Does that
Cals in
happen
order.
does that happen that often?
Some of the biggest names I've worked with have had really crazy mess ups. Like,
So is it usually the
I'm
bigger...
not talking about Ringo.
And it's, yeah.
I'm not talking
We're
about
reading
any
between the lines here.
Yeah, I'm not talking about any of Elizabeth's people, but some very big names. It's been very hard, because in that case you're probably dealing with like a bigger name journalist as well, and they have just the same level of, you know, time is important to them, and they're also famous.
Yeah, it's like, come on, dude. This was a mutual,
Exactly.
beneficial situation.
Exactly. So, yeah, just like be on your game, you know, stay organized, stay optimistic. But there's, you know, you don't need to, and if you do know people in the media, it's good to sort of make it crystal clear with your publicist that you know someone and that you're going to be reaching out to them or working with them or whatever. Because, like, we also know them. You know what I mean?
It's like, why don't go behind the back, or
Right.
not that it's behind the back, but you're
Right.
there. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And also, so I've also noticed there's a certain type of client that can kind of get like, well, that I could have done that, or like, you know what I mean? Like they start sort of like,
Getting defensive about they spent money on this and you're doing what they could have done.
right, exactly. Or it's like this, like, there's like a competitiveness about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're like, did you get it or did I get it? Did you get it or did I get it? I don't know if I got. Oh, I probably just got. God, you suck. And we're just like, why are you working with us?
Does that make you feel good? Is that?
It's not helpful. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
not helpful. You know, we should all be getting along. Like, we all want the same thing.
Yeah, that seems like
Which
the
is-
core
yeah.
idea is to be together.
Yeah,
How long do you
totally.
usually work with people on a project?
The longer the better, but it's usually between 2 and 4 months for a project, depending on what kind of lead time we have. But, you know, there's a lot of success and a lot of good reason to just keep someone on for a very long time, especially if you have a lot going on. Because we'll also work sort of institutionally for labels or for comedians or authors or, you know, whatever, personalities. And when you have a longer amount of time with a publicist, they really know you, they really know your story, they know the coverage that came before and how, and they know how to sort of move the campaign forward or move the discourse about you in general forward, because they placed the earlier stuff last year.
You've really developed that relationship more than just have it half formed.
Exactly. And you've developed the conversation on the media side.
Exactly. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's not super cheap, it's not super expensive, but what would you say to someone who just has a great project, a great idea, but just can't afford it? What do they do in that situation?
You know, go ahead and give it a shot. You know, identify a few journalists that you like. Maybe try to write them an email. It's all sixth grade journalism: who, what, where, when, why. You know, like, make sure it's clear what the project is and what you're asking them. That's very important too. To be like, I am writing you to see if you might review my album, or if you might include this track in the roundup that you do every Friday, or whatever that sort of ask is. Everybody's really busy. Don't write a humongous novel. If you
Subject line and the first line of the email.
yeah, write about me. Be nice, be quick, be clear, and don't be afraid to be yourself on an email, you know, and because personality it's fine. You are a person. But yeah, if you can't afford PR, you can totally give it a shot. Follow up politely. If you get a pass, be like, thank you so much for letting me know. Don't be mean to journalists.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Show common courtesy. It's really, if you have a who, what, when, where, why, then
Yeah.
you can just really do whatever you need to, and
Yeah.
you just go where the water's warm, as you would say.
Totally. Exactly. Go where it's warm. And
Is that something sharks do?
Ooh, I wonder.
Do sharks go to warm water?
Maybe they go to cold water.
No, that's only cold water for sharks.
Yeah.
We brought in our official shark expert here, Dev Rogers. How many teeth do they have again, Dev?
How many teeth?
Yeah.
12.
Interesting. That is very contrary to common belief. That is super good
The
to
old
know.
12-tooth
The old
shark.
12 tooth. They have less teeth than human babies.
That's right.
They're very efficient with their choppers.
They are very big teeth. Those 12 teeth are very sharp.
Yeah. All right, so I guess this is kind of in your space, but social media has obviously changed the game. How do you guys interact with social media, and what are some do's and don'ts for your clients during a promotion with social media?
Sure. Graphics are really great on social media. If you have access to someone who can design things that look banging, then utilize that resource. Or there's things like Canva, which is a very, very simple program that you can do your own graphics. So graphics are great for social media. Broadcast a lot. I mean, you're basically just broadcasting yourself as a channel. Like, that's what's going on. So, be likable. Don't be a jerk, and interact a lot and talk with people. Like, if you have fans, good for you. You should interact with them. You should be nice to them. You're, of course, still allowed to draw boundaries and, block anything toxic that's happening there. But the hope is that you can utilize the coverage that we garner in your social media feed, which then that sort of can bump everything up a little bit in terms of, it's just you doing stories at the mall, or it's you doing stories at the mall and then there's a New York Times piece about you. So that it can kind of sort of like elevate the discourse. I've said discourse way too many times. I'd like to apologize.
It's a great word.
It is
we
a
should
good
be using it more
word.
often. We need more discourse about discourse.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's about the skinny of it, right?
Yeah. What do you think about there's this thing where people buy followers? What is your...
I don't think you should do it.
Buy
I think,
followers?
Yeah.
You can buy them. You can literally you get these spam emails. I actually had, and I use the word friend lightly, but he was like, he's a hustler guy who drives me crazy. But he was like, hey man, like I'm working on this new thing. Like, give me some money. You'll have 25,000 followers in no time. And I was like,
What?
I spend
No.
money. Who's calling, Dev?
It's that hustler guy. He figured out where you're at.
Yeah. Yo man, you want 50,000 followers? I'm gonna get you off the ground, baby. I don't need to talk about him anymore. All right.
I don't think it's a good idea. I think that people can tell if you have fake followers because you don't have as much engagement.
Yeah.
You don't have likes and you don't have comments. So if you have 50,000 followers, I think they say it's something like you should expect like 5 to 7% engagement.
Yeah.
Just like no matter, if
Whatever
if it's like a picture of a blank wall, maybe not. But for the most part, if you're like
That's all I've
putting
been
out,
posting recently. I thought people would appreciate it, but no.
for the most part, if it's like a fair feed, then you should expect at least that much. So if you go to someone's page or go to someone's Instagram and they have 50,000 followers and like 3 likes on every photo, and it's all their mom liking the photos, then it's probably fake, and you're like,
Their
this
mom's
is
3
stupid.
accounts.
Yeah, and I think anybody who would really be interested in those metrics knows the difference between fake and real
Yeah.
ones.
So
and
you really just push them away.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, that's weird. Like, why did he buy 25,000 followers?
Yeah. Sounds a little desperate.
Right. So if you can get away with it, don't.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
That's a common workplace information.
Yeah.
There's a saying out there. I don't know how you feel about it. Is any publicity good publicity?
That's so hard because I want to be like, I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Expand further on that.
Well, I'm very client side, and bad publicity is very hard on the client. It's hard on the person.
Mm-hmm.
If there's like bad mojo being said about a client, they're not going to be in a really good place. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. But that's also just because I care about the people themselves.
Yeah.
and I really don't think that it helps. Like, I can think of a couple examples. There was that one band that pretended that there was a sex tape that was leaked and that they were being violated because their sex tape was stolen and posted, and they were really hamming it up. Turned out that it was fake, that they leaked it and then leaked the
A
story.
little juicy sommelier
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Is that his name? How do you say? I don't know how you say his last name.
I don't know. I'm like,
sommelier.
yeah, I don't know
That's
who
a
that
wine connoisseur guy. Whatever. You know who I'm talking
Oh,
about.
okay, yeah.
Juicy. We'll call him Juicy.
Yeah, totally. So that really backfired. It didn't result in anything but everyone being like, you guys are jerks. You've just belittled all of the people who've, actually been through, which is basically like an assault. It's a huge violation. And so pretending that happened to you, that's as bad as sort of like falsely accusing someone of any kind of assault or anything like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
again just bad business. But here's another. This is a more recent example. This happened the other day, and I won't use her name just for the sake of she probably doesn't need it. But a comedian who did a joke on the Comedy Cellar show on Comedy Central, and it was a joke about a rapper who he had $50,000 and he was going to buy a car, so he had it in cash, was driving to get the car, got shot on the way. The comedian did a joke that was like, well, that sounds horrible, but also sounds like a really good commercial for Venmo. And
For Venmo?
for Venmo, the cash thing. Yeah, it's a dark joke, but it's a funny joke.
Right.
If you're in the comedy, it's a comedy show, and the fans of this rapper and a lot of people online have just, it has been a violent assault. She had to block her Twitter account or like lock it. And like on one hand, the comedy community is supporting her.
Yeah.
You have all these people who probably didn't know her that know much about her who are now hearing about her. And so on one,
What are people offended about? The fact that she made a
she
joke
made a
about
joke
him
about a
getting
rapper.
shot?
She made a joke about a guy who got shot.
Oh, who
It's
did get shot.
So the guy actually died, and the joke. I mean, she wasn't saying like "good thing he got shot." It was a joke. It was a funny observation she
Yeah.
had about a true situation. So from a comedy standpoint, classic joke structure. It's funny, but
Mm-hmm.
people, he had such a big following that she was just getting harassed and.
I think that's awful. I mean, I think it's tricky because I believe that intention does matter along with language. I remember when there was the big Colbert controversy when he was pointing out the racism of the NFL team Redskins because it's the most offensive thing on earth by making up another really racist name that sounds really ridiculous to us. So he was using satire to point out that this thing that does exist is awful by saying like it's like as if you did this, which is also awful.
Plug in whatever you want to say.
Yeah, and there was a real mobilization against him for it, and like fire Colbert, like this horrible. Do you remember this?
Vaguely, I
Okay.
remember the idea of it.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm like I even remember what the joke is, and I don't want to repeat it again.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Could we encourage you?
Do you remember it?
Yeah, it was like, I am quoting Stephen Colbert.
This is a
on
Kathryn original, yes.
No,
What?
Stephen Colbert on the Colbert Report. It was something about his team called Ching Chong Ding and the Ding
Ching Chong
Dongs,
Ding Dong. Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that. And so there was a real backlash in the Asian American community about that, which I understand that would be a very offensive thing. Anyway, it's just interesting to me because I do believe that probably intent matters in some capacity.
Yeah, because I don't think she was intending to hurt anyone. She was intending to be funny, and then I don't think and Colbert was intending
And
to prove a bigger point.
So I have to stop you there because I will say that racists who say racist jokes are also trying to be funny. So it's not just about trying to be
Yeah,
funny.
no, that's
It's about, like, who is the butt of the joke, right?
Yeah.
So the butt of that joke is the racist who named their football team the Redskins. That's the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
That's who he's making fun of. So it's hard because it gets sort of displaced because this other sort of satirical name that he brought up, it can also sound like it.
it seems like that's the joke.
Right. People who feel offended by that because of their own experience sort of can be like, that feels like you're making fun of me. And
Yeah,
in a racist
from
way.
a comic standpoint, and just as what would be annoying about that is like, well, it wasn't all about you, and you seem to be internalizing this in a way that it wasn't meant to be an internalizing, and you're not
Yeah, it feels
doing
like
your
maybe
job
they didn't
of
quite think through the intention of the joke.
Yeah, like it's like if you're just gonna see something and get angry because it bothers you, it sounds like you have something to work out in that versus getting mad at this other person who's trying to do something different, but you are unable to see it.
Right. Like I'm gonna go into some pretty crazy modern feminism now, Dev. I hope you'll
do
go
it.
there with
I'm
me.
glad I'm seated.
All right. I have a client named Adrienne Trescott who is amazing, and she has a show all about rape jokes, and it is called Asking for It. The one lady rape about comedy, and and the whole premise. And she performs a lot of rape jokes wearing nothing from. She wears like some bras and a denim jacket and high heels. No pants. No pants. And it's hilarious. Like, just imagine that outfit. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Like, for someone to be running around in
Right
public
off
with
the
no
bat.
pants on.
Yeah, it's already funny.
And so she tells she really examines the idea of the rape joke. And she acts like, oh, I thought I'd try to do some comedy, and now all these guys are telling these rape jokes, so I thought I'd try it or whatever. I told you, I was going pretty deep on the crazy modern feminism. But, so her sort of, her autopsy on a rape joke is that if the butt of the joke is not the victim, like the butt of the joke cannot be the victim.
Yes.
It cannot be
Always
like,
keep in mind your target. Yeah.
Right,
who are you
exactly.
bringing down. Yeah.
There can be jokes made by like a rape victim or some, you know what I mean? Like there's just a line. And so that's just sort of, I bring that up just to say that, it's a really funny show. Mm-hmm. So she's also trying to be funny and she's telling rape jokes. So it's this very strange sort of line. And I think it always has to just be that the butt of the joke cannot be a person that you're making fun of for their victimhood or their demographic or their ethnicity or anything that is just who they are.
Yeah.
Because if the butt of the joke is making fun of someone for who they are, fat or skinny or any of that, then I think it's in poor taste. And I think that smarter people and humorists don't do that. They don't have to do that. People are like, oh, they're just trying to be funny or whatever. But you're like, yeah, but there's a whole world of things to write about.
Yeah. Well, so then what does that what the rapper joke fall into? Because that one seems a little, I'm just curious.
That one's confusing to me. I don't know if I get the joke.
Oh, you don't get the joke? It's because he had $50,000. Like,
so he had $50,000.
If he had had Venmo, he wouldn't have to drive.
Oh, that's the commercial. Okay.
So it's like
right.
It's like if you
don't carry cash.
Carry
just
cash
use
and you'll
Venmo.
use Venmo. So
which wouldn't work because they have like a $2,500 limit every week. So
you would have been a great audience with that joke. Excuse me.
To the library.
I'm not offended, but I have to check your logic there.
Rewind.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that that's a joke at his expense, or maybe it.
Pun intended. Sorry. God.
Maybe it is.
I don't know.
Can't tell.
I mean, I still support her, and I think the joke is funny, but I get how people can misconstrue it as an attack on him.
Yeah. She's like, oh, you should have just used Venmo. I mean, that's all she's saying, really.
Yeah. It's not really an attack.
What is Venmo?
Venmo is a cash service you can pay each other, just on your phone.
That doesn't feel like it's a joke about who he is.
Yeah.
Do you know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying?
No, I agree. That's why.
I don't
that's
think
why
it's
I
about
defend.
his
That's why I defend her. And Comedy Central pulled the joke off TV, which is why a lot of that.
Yeah.
The comedian anger is coming from is why you censoring because someone was offended. So
I would want to read a think piece about that one.
Read some think
pieces. I feel like
pieces.
I'm not quite.
Okay, go online,
there,
look it up. I won't say her name. But
I don't want to be on
protect her
record
identity.
either way.
Yeah. No, I was just curious how you felt. But I agree. You should always be punching up, not punching down, and keep that in mind when you're creating your material.
Yeah, for sure.
You do a lot of work in the feminist space. It's obviously very important to you as a woman who's made it herself. What advice do you have for women who want to pave their own way in this industry or in any industry for that matter?
Be yourself. Be nice, but you don't have to take any shit from any stupid anybody's.
I like that. Don't take shit from any stupid anybody's. Write that down.
You can do it. Just stay in the game, stay optimistic. I don't know if you know this about me, but I like to stay optimistic for many reasons. And, align with other publicists or whatever it is you're doing in the industry. If you're a performer or a publicist or manager or whatever, meet other ones. There's plenty of business in the world for everyone. You know what I mean? So ally, have other people that you can talk to about it. Get a mentor if you could be so lucky. I mean, Elizabeth Freud is not my mentor in a we have mentor date. A lot of times in the financial sector and everything, it's like a very formal thing that it's your mentor. And
Yeah.
So I don't have that, but I do look up to her a lot, and I've learned a lot from her. And there will be times where I'm just like, I don't know what this red carpet. What like there's something about this. What or like I can call her for advice. Have people that you can call on, and create communities and support groups. Not support groups, but support systems.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kathryn. I'm a publicist.
Trying to find my way in a world where the patriarchy dominates. Can anyone help? Please.
And I mean, be the business that you want to see. Like, be the change that you want to see.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah.
Like,
is that a political campaign?
I definitely didn't
You
write
should run
that.
on that. Be the change you want to see.
Dance like nobody's watching your business. Your business that you're building. I wrote that too. Yeah.
So that was great. I think that was all good advice.
Thanks. And take me out to lunch to pick my brain.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Well, was that an invite for me? You want me to take you out to lunch to pick your brain, or was
Yes, please.
Okay.
Somewhere fancy.
Somewhere fancy
With
with
lobster
mimosas
rolls.
and lobster rolls. Done. I can do it. We'll put it on Abby's tab. Oh, and then before we, how can men be better allies? Because
Yeah.
you're sitting there as a guy, like, understanding and seeing things into different. Like, okay, I don't want to be that over the top, like feminism, but you're also
Right.
like, what are the little things guys can do to help?
Like the posts that feminists are posting,
Okay.
like them, or be like, yeah, or whatever.
I've been doing a lot of that.
Read them. Put women's voices ahead of your own. I mean, you bring a lot of women on the podcast. You are partnered with one for your podcast. She's amazing. You have one as a manager. That's all really great. Give money to all of the repro rights people right now, especially vote for women.
Mm-hmm.
Vote for women. Vote for women. Because there's no equal representation. I think it's all about representation, and like as much in politics as it is in entertainment. That's like what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like we're interested in representation. Know that sometimes it's gonna be a funny transition, because if we want equality, right, and if there's 8 white dudes at the table and 2 wild cards, woman, not white person, that's kind of how a lot of these like big corporate boards are. If we want equality, that means that five guys are gonna have to go do something else.
Mm-hmm.
Like in order to have a seat at the table, there's going to be a rearrangement, and that's okay, because
Be willing to
we've
let
been
change
away
happen.
from the table forever.
You accept that and understand it, and know that your time's not gone, but just you do have to let the door open for these other people.
Exactly, and I can't have a ton of compassion for the pain of that stepping down, because we've been so far away from the table for so long.
Yeah. It's like
we just
you've
wanna,
had it for a week,
Yeah,
and you're
can
like,
I sit? Yeah.
but I want to be there.
Right. Exactly.
It's like your time will come. You're not going to be
Right.
You're never going to be. We're never going to be put in that.
And you know what?
position.
Speak to your friends who are men about feminism.
There you go. Because I do have a lot of friends where I get texts and things like, "Dude, this feminist movement," and I'm just like, "Oh my god!" Like,
oh Christ.
I mean, I could go into it. Maybe I will. Like, it was like, sorry. It's a person I love so much, but then it's like, we hired this woman, and I'm done with this man. She's got I can't talk to her like I would talk to a man, and I was like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why not? And
Why?
I don't know. It's hard because I'm not going to cut those people out of my life because I don't think they're bad people. I just don't think they have.
Well, I think that maybe that's a great opportunity to be educating your stupid friend.
I have been working on it. It is not working that great, but it's a slow and sure process.
Just like always speak up, and it's also good to speak up with like kindness and stuff, and it's also okay to sort of just cut toxicity out of your life if it comes to that.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally. Figuring out the balance, but just
Yeah.
speaking how you feel and doing the best you can.
Right. And not letting people get by with sexist stuff. Like, you can straight up just be like, that's kind of sexist because if you like, I can't treat a woman the same way I'd treat a man. Like,
Yeah,
that's literally
lay
you
your
just
logic out.
described sexism.
Yeah, you literally.
Yeah.
If you look back at the breadcrumbs, the misogynist breadcrumbs you left behind.
Yeah, and it's very, very hard because it's the culture that we're steeped in. We're steeped in a white patriarchy, so it's just that's like the system by which we have judged and made all of the decisions up to now.
Yeah.
So it's not even really their fault. But at this point, it's like, okay, but they could choose to learn and to read, like get some female authors in there.
Yeah,
and
to
like
just to
read-
realize to slow it down and be like, oh God.
Yeah.
If you don't take a moment to absorb it all and figure out what you can do to make it better, then you're missing the bigger picture.
Yeah. You can totally teach an old patriarchy new tricks. You guys got so many T-shirts
This
this
is
round.
good. This is a T-shirt day. Teach the old patriarchy new tricks. Oh man, Kathryn, this has been a blast. Is there anything else you want to like? What do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Anything changing? Anything new? Or just stay in the course?
Bigger, cooler, even better stuff.
Bigger, cooler, even better stuff. Another T-shirt. God damn it.
Do I get to ask some? Oh, sorry, you're the host.
No, you can. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What's your agenda?
I
What do
want
you-
my time where I get to ask some advice. from
Oh,
Deb.
you want to ask some advice from? Yes, let's take that time
I
now.
was
This is
thinking
it.
about this. Can I ask you a question?
Sure, I don't have much advice at all, but
No, but you have a lot of experience.
that's true.
I was wondering if you have a phase or like a decade, 20s, 30s, like that you feel was the best and why.
No, you always have to think that what's going to be coming ahead is going to be the best,
Nice.
Ooh, I like that.
and not looking back. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so optimistic.
that was actually we had one of the questions we did on an interview was, what do you regret about your past? And she goes, well, that's a waste of time. And that was like the whole answer. It was just like
That's
you can't
a really
you can't
good
you
answer.
can't have regrets. Like what is that doing
Wow.
to the point? Anything else you want to ask her?
Do you feel like an adult? Do you feel like an adult person? Like you're a grown up? Because I don't yet.
When you're
Oh,
my
good.
age, you have to.
Yeah. All right. So I will catch up to it at some point.
But it was actually comforting for me to hear you say that. I was like, oh, good. All right. So none of us are adults except Deb. All right. I got time.
No. I feel like I mean, everything's really fun and I like my life. And I'm like, is that being an adult? I thought it was supposed to be more miserable. than that.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what they tell you when you're a kid. I think you're allowed to have fun and it be okay.
Awesome.
Being an adult means you're miserable.
I don't know. I think I have that in my brain that it's like, oh, I don't have fun anymore. I just go like this a lot.
Once you turn 30, just the good times are out the window.
Stop having fun. Make babies or whatever, you know, stuff like that.
That means you have to look past and see that there was fun in the past.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
Yeah.
Well, I guess for some, I think have fun. You should be allowed that.
All right. I will continue to have fun.
Yeah, well, let's end with some fun. We like to do a little game.
Oh, God. Am I going to fail?
Probably.
Okay.
This isn't. It's not the easiest. It's not the hardest. All right, so here's a game. I don't have a clever name for it. It's just.
the same one.
It's the same. Yeah.
I'm still going to fail.
Yeah. We did a practice run of this game, and it didn't go great with Kathryn, but we're gonna
I
give her a
only know
second
the
chance.
things I work on.
I know. Don't worry. No one's gonna judge you. Well, maybe, but no
That's
one's
fine.
really gonna judge
They
you
are.
if you get these wrong.
Okay.
So the way the game works, I read an album out. We have 2 bells here. You each ring it. Dev just has to say whether it's a comedy album or a music album. You ring. You have to say whether it's comedy or music and who the artist is who did the album.
That's asking a lot of you.
That is, yeah.
It is. So
And I didn't do a very good job
in the practice
in
run.
the practice run.
Yeah.
So I forgot everything that happened. Okay.
That's all right. Totally new bands. You'll have no idea. Or in comics. All right.
Cool.
First one, Dev, you just have to say, ring your bell, say whether it's comedy or music. Arizona Bay.
Comedy.
Boom! She
Yeah.
nailed it. All right, Kathryn, we'll give you a bonus point if you can name the artist.
Arizona Bay. Is that the guy who's like, get her done all the time?
Oh God, it's literally the exact opposite of that.
Oh, it
It's first off, that's Larry the Cable Guy.
Okay.
and it's Bill Hicks.
Oh yeah, that is the opposite.
And there was some music in that. He plays like guitar over certain
okay.
bits, which is really cool. But it's a comedy album first. So,
Love
Deb,
that.
you get a point. Congratulations.
Thank you for that.
All right. The Earth, a small man, his dog, and a chicken.
Music,
Yeah.
and it's Led Zeppelin.
Oh, that's way too way too goofy for the Zap.
Terrific.
No, she didn't get it. Deb, she
didn't get it?
didn't get it.
No. They
Yeah.
didn't even name their album.
It's Deb's favorite band, REO Speedwagon.
Oh.
The #1 band played at strip clubs in the scene.
Oh,
All right, so we'll give you half a point. You got the music, so Dev's up 1 to 1/2. Louder Than Hell.
It's a comedy.
And who do you think it is?
I know this one. It's Meatloaf. The comedian.
I believe that's Bad Out of Hell.
I know.
It's not Meatloaf. Think of who would be the Meatloaf of comedy. Who would that be? Do you know?
Oh Christ!
This
The
is a tough
Meatloaf
one.
of
Think of the
comedy.
title too. Louder Than Hell. This dude is really
Oh,
loud.
Sam Kinison.
You nailed it,
Yeah,
yes.
duh.
who is the person?
Sam Kinison.
Oh,
He
You
is
should watch
the
some Sam
Meatloaf
Kinison.
of comedy.
He is the Meatloaf of comedy. He is,
He's so great.
and he rocks on stage. There's a concert special he does where he plays. He opens with like a rock song with
oh
a full
my
band.
God. I've been watching some of his older stuff just on stage, just like YouTubing around. That
God,
guy
he's
was
so good.
so good and crazy.
Crazy, and also a little bit like misogynistic, but open and funny about it. It was done in like a thoughtful way, where it's like, this is how I think, but I'm not sure what it means.
Yeah.
It was. I don't
Which
know.
was ahead for the time, frankly.
It was ahead for the time. I don't know.
Just to even like have any questioning about.
Yeah, so much respect for him.
Yeah, he's funny.
All right, let's get small.
That's a comedy album by Steve Martin.
Yeah, you're killing it.
wow.
All right.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, we'll do a couple more. Hairway to Steven.
That's hilarious because we've been talking about Led Zeppelin
I know.
so much.
I know. This is a coincidence.
Stairway.
No,
to-
Hairway to Steven.
Do you know
Deb,
that
you can
one?
ring in. This is a chance for you to get back in the game.
Yeah, I thought I'd give you a second.
If I ring means I must know something.
You just have to guess whether it's comedy or music, so you're really 50-50ing it.
Wait a second. Comedy.
Music.
Music. Who is it?
Is that? I think it's gonna be like Adam Sandler. Or
Acid
something.
Punk.
Oh.
No, that's not the name of the band. It's Acid Punk would be, I guess, is the genre.
Oh, yeah. I
They're
don't
very
know
vulgar
that.
title.
Acid Punk. Lord's. I don't know.
The Butthole Surfers.
Oh, okay.
Dev's second favorite band.
Nobody watched this part of it or listen.
yeah. Well, people tuned out an hour ago.
Okay, perfect.
All right, we'll do one more. Last one from. All right, we'll just Enema of the State.
Enema of the state.
Enema of the State. This is a chance, Dev.
I'm almost gonna hit it. You
Dev,
gonna
get
beat
in
me?
there.
Ah,
You hit it.
All right, what do you got?
I don't know.
All right, Dev, this is your chance to steal a point.
Of the state.
If you name the band, I'm leaving America.
That means it's music.
It's music.
I gave it away.
It's music.
It's music.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Kathryn already won the game anyway. It's music. It's Blink 182, one of
Oh,
my
right.
favorite childhood bands.
Blink 182.
Blink 182.
Never heard of it. Excuse me.
No, I didn't expect
Bands
you.
name themselves the darndest things.
That is true. Well, Kathryn, congratulations, you did it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that's it. I think we covered it all. Anything else you want to say?
No.
No.
Vote
Dev?
for women.
Vote
You-
for women. Dev, you got anything?
You can think about what you might want to say. You're not expected to speak right up.
We'll
That's the best advice I've gotten all day.
email us. We'll put it in post. Everyone will know. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
All right. Well, Kathryn, thank you again so much for coming by.
Thank you guys
Thank you.
for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for promoting the show, and thank all you for listening out there. We always appreciate it. Remember to download, rate, subscribe on iTunes or Himalaya. Leave us a review. Shoot us an email. You can ask any question you want to me and Dev at theyoungandtheweary@gmail.com. Follow us on social media. And in the meantime, always remember, people, stay happy, stay funny.
Stay alive.
Amen. All right. Thanks, Kathryn.